Hello, my name is Amber Lorraine Shaw, and I'm a senior theater student at Wayne State University. My hometown is actually Melvindale, Michigan, so I've lived in Michigan pretty much my entire life. Growing up, I just always really loved performing. I loved to sing, and my dream was to be a princess in a Disney film. Like, oh my gosh, that just would have, oh, it's still kind of my dream. um, but growing up, I just had this intense passion for singing. And in ninth grade, my sister, Serena, actually, at that time, I had this huge, I was going to go to cosmetology school and do hair. Like, that was going to be my thing. And so in ninth grade, my sister asked me if I could help out with some of the girls' hair for the show that they were doing, Once Upon a Mattress. And I said yes. So I went and I did their hair, and I was an usher for the show so I could see it for free. And I just fell in love with the whole spectacle of the dancing and the singing and the costumes and just the camaraderie that it seemed like everybody really had. It just had a really great spirit. So the following year, I signed up to be in drama classes, and I just caught the drama bug. And I couldn't wait to be on stage and to perform. And I remember my first role was actually Lola in Damn Yankees, and that was my freshman year of high school. And I remember being so nervous the first time that I had to step on stage to actually get out there and sing, and because it was a solo. And I remember this heartbeat in my chest that was just intensifying, and me just praying to God, oh Lord, please don't let me screw this up. And then getting on stage and seeing the audience and freaking for a half a second, and then the minute I started singing, just feeling like everything changed, and being a little bit nervous through it. And then I remember the first time I heard the applause as I walked off. And I will never forget that sound. That sound was just amazing and incredible. And it just it gave me the bug. Through drama club in high school, I was able to develop I felt a sense of family, going through a lot of hard things in times. I went through a lot. And my drama teacher was really there for me, and she was like a mother to me through those 4 years and even beyond. I mean, I'm getting married next month, and she's totally invited to my wedding. I still call her and her husband mom and dad. I mean, my parents are alive, but I still call them mom and dad because they're my drama parents. But so I had decided through high school, I had already known how to sew, and obviously when you're in high school drama club, you go where you're needed, and anything that you can do, you do. So I was able to do a little bit of costuming. At one point, I was able to try assistant directing, and I just fell in love with everything theater-wise. My heart just bled for theater, you know? And so leaving high school, I decided to try a little bit of community theater, and eventually decided that that was what I wanted to do with my life, was to be involved in theater. And I had this huge passion for acting, and I had researched all of the programs in the state, and I had decided I either wanted to go to University of Detroit Mercy or Wayne State University. And ultimately, I chose Wayne State University because they gave way more scholarships, and I ended up being a transfer student, and they gave way more transfer scholarships, and it just seemed like I visited the campus, and everything just seemed to really be a great fit. So I went to the campus, and it was wonderful, and everything was great, and I was super excited, and I was able to get my entire schedule mapped out and figure out, okay, I'm going to graduate. This is my graduation date. Everything's going to work out. And then I started my semester, and I did my first auditions, and I got cast. I got cast in the Detroit Projects by Dominique Morisseau. I played Caroline, and it was a one-night performance. We did a staged reading of the trilogy, the Detroit Projects trilogy, and I was a little disheartened because half the department didn't show because the nights that they chose for those plays were actually during rehearsals for all of the other shows for the semester. So, I mean, there was hardly anyone from our own department even in the crowd, which was really disheartening, seeing how all these other people were supporting everybody else and how all of the students were required to do all these things to support all these other shows. And because this was a free show, it seemed like it didn't get any kind of support from the faculty or the other students, which being that being my first semester was kind of disheartening. Yet still I made some friends, and I'm a transfer student, and I was a little bit nervous because I'm also a commuter, that I was nervous that I wouldn't be able to find a niche at Wayne State because being a transfer student and being a commuter, it really, the department and the university setting isn't really set up for commuters to thrive and for transfer students to thrive. I mean, especially the theater department, it is not set up for transfers to thrive. Just the way that the program is set up, it's set up to be a 4-year program because all of the classes overlap. It's difficult to schedule and fit everything that you need to get in the 2 years, especially if you're coming with an Associate of Arts degree like I was. It was really hard to piece everything together and get the classes that I wanted and was interested in that also, were required for my degree. But we did it for the most part. I was able to get a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do. But through all of this, being at Wayne State and through finding my niche with these transfer students and even talking to, freshmen and incoming freshmen and seniors who were about to leave and juniors who were about to leave and people who were sophomores and everyone within the department that I had happened to make friends with, I just really found that it seemed like everyone was a little bit unhappy with what they were getting out of the department, whether it be, they felt that there was a lack of communication or whether they felt like from the first date when they did their orientation, it seemed like there were all these great opportunities to actually act and to be involved and to do this and to do that. And then slowly, one by one, those things have just kind of been stripped away. And not everything has really been explained to recurring students. Like, I get that it's a business and that being a business means that you have to go where the money takes you. However, let's say if a college is a business, if we're going to follow that analogy, then we would have to purport that the students are actually the consumers. And if indeed the students are the consumers and their tuition is what's paying for the college, then you can't expect to decrease the opportunities that you're giving the students and the learning opportunities and the opportunities to be in shows and the number of shows that are being performed, and not expect to get some kind of feedback or some kind of backlash from the students who are actually paying for all of that stuff. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because, we pay a lot of money for our tuition, and it feels as though the number of opportunities are not equal to the dollars spent. As I said, when I first entered the department, I was cast, and since then I have not been cast. This semester and the previous semester, I didn't even audition because if I had been cast in a show other than a musical, it would have royally messed up all of the other classes that I needed, and it would have messed up my schedule so that I wouldn't be able to graduate on time, because I needed certain credits for my musical theater minor, and there's only one or two ways to get those. So that being said, I've noticed through my journey at Wayne State, not just through being upset by what my journey has been and how I feel I've been treated, and the frustration that I felt with the system and with the department, but things that I've heard from other students that I've become close with and other students in passing, that they're just not happy with what they're getting. And many students that I've spoken to really feel that either choosing Wayne State was a mistake, like they're trapped because they've already spent so much money and they've already completed so much of their degree that the credits won't transfer to another institution, or that they'll have to retake classes that they've already taken, because most institutions have a policy which states that X amount of credits, like your last, let's say 50 or something, have to be earned at the institution that you're graduating from. So like Wayne State, I believe it is 58. No, it's 30, I believe. Yes. Your last 30 credits have to be earned at Wayne State. So that would be equal to roughly 2 semesters if you're taking 15 credits a semester, which is just over full time, about 5 classes. So your last 30 credits have to be from that university. So if you're a junior or a senior, if you're a junior or a sophomore, it's not really worth it to transfer to another university. So many students feel that they're trapped, and that, by the time they would get to another university, learn all of their instructors, and actually be eligible to design shows or be in shows, that they would be graduating, and they'd be in the same predicament that they are now. So they stay there because it's comfortable, and hey, at least they know the people. So just through seeing all of this, I've really felt that there needs to be some kind of gap, because the students that I've talked to that have had an issue like I have had are afraid to talk to their instructors and their superiors and their professors and the directors and the chairs of the department, because they either A, don't feel like anything will be done and their voice and opinion won't matter anyway, so what's the point? Or B, feel that if they do say something, they'll be seen as the person who's just complaining and bitching about the fact that they didn't get a part, rather than seen as someone who is paying for a service that they feel that they aren't getting. And with the way that the system is set up, and with how much we're paying into our tuition, okay, like the bottom line of it is this. When you are a theater student or an art student of any type, you're going into a field which requires you to constantly learn and to constantly dedicate yourself to the practice. And in theater, a lot of that is actually acting. So if you're not having the opportunities to actually be in plays, even if it's just as someone in the ensemble, you're not getting to work with directors, you're not constantly seeing new scripts and constantly changing your persona and perfecting different versions of yourself, which means you're not as marketable as someone who is. And the way that our system is set up is not set up so that students can flourish. It feels as though the theater department at Wayne State University is set up more like a business than it is a school. And the problem with that is that it's a school. Our tuition dollars are going towards our education. And the reason that students are getting so frustrated and upset isn't because they're being whiny about not being cast in something. It's because they're paying to learn something that they're not learning. That is the biggest problem. If you want to talk about how the school is a business, and if you want to stick with that analogy, that's totally fine. Go with the fact that students are the consumers, and we're paying for something that on the label says it's one thing, but once you open it up inside, it's something completely different. We're paying the way that the department advertises itself to incoming students is that you have all these different opportunities to act, and even if you're not acting, you know, in a play, that you'll be eligible for all of these acting classes, and that's just not true. If you're a BA student, a Bachelor of Arts instead of a Bachelor of Fine Arts student, and you don't audition to get into the acting program and focus solely on acting without being able to do anything else in any of the other areas of the department, then you're unable to register for all of the additional acting classes. There's only 2 acting classes that are actually available to you as a BA student. So you could be in a predicament like me, in which I auditioned an acting audition to get into the BA program at Wayne State University. My audition was accepted, and I was, put in as a BA theater student, acting student. And I'm going to be graduating this semester having taken only 1 acting class. That's kind of stunning, considering that, the BFAs get to take several classes to hone their craft. And it's just frustrating that those classes are there and they're available, but you're not even eligible to register for them. So that's kind of the reason that I feel like the program needs to be reinvented and that the students should have input. So if you want, that's a little bit about my project. So if you want to learn a little bit more about my project, go ahead and click the link below to read more about why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I have in store for this giant project that I'm hoping can revitalize our department and make our students proud to be creative warriors again. Thanks for watching.